In this WrestleTalk news, is Triple H's WWE future in trouble? A Vince McMahon / Pat McAfee update, and ROH TOAEW CONFIRMED. Plus, Ollie's going to be reviewing last night's Dynamite, and also subscribe and enable notifications to always on for daily wrestling news videos.
Support WrestleTalk!
So I think it's important to remember when talking about Triple H's involvement in WWE that he hasn't really had much since a cardiac event sidelined him back in autumn last year. Now, when most people have a health scare, you send them flowers, some grapes, a get well soon card, and you definitely don't usually dismantle every single thing they've built while they're recuperating. But you know, Nick Khan, he just loves spring cleaning, and his spring cleaning is dragged on through summer, autumn, winter, and now we're basically back to spring again. As after releasing many of the loyal hands Trips brought into work on NXT, he's now gone after another close working partner, because PW Insider are reporting that Lizette Pineda, the manager of global talent strategy and development, was recently let go by WWE. Pineda is said to have been extremely close to Paul from the back office and often described as Triple H's top executive assistant. So with the game yet to return to full-time work after his health issues, Pineda's role was said to be limited at best, meaning her time was probably numbered. And the departure has also sparked questions about whether Triple H is expected to return to his former role at the company, or just to the company at all. PW Insider have said that many of those who used to be in constant communication with him haven't spoken to him in some time. So he is either not coming back, or not coming back for a while, is the assumption. Lizette's departure also continues WWE's dismantling of Triple H's talent scouting operation after Director of Talent Development William Regal and scouts and coaches Road Dogg and Samoa Joe were given the old heave-ho last year, or this year. It's been a long year. With Triple H's talent strategy out the window though, it's time for a bold new vision for WWE's booking. It's time to put over a 76-year-old billionaire at WrestleMania. Now, we discussed the rumoured Vince McMahon versus Pat McAfee match for WrestleMania, which is reported to be set up when Vinnie Mac appears on Patty Mac's podcast today. Though according to Fightful Select, the interview is supposed to be a real interview as opposed to a kayfabe-filled one. But we'll just see if they do manage to find some way to brew up some senior bashing storylines for WrestleMania though. We will see, I will be watching. And it has finally happened, guys. On Dynamite, Tony Khan announced that he signed a deal to become the new owner of Ring of Honor. This is huge. The purchase agreement outlines that TK has acquired the brand assets, intellectual property, production equipment, and extensive video library dating back 20 years from the Sinclair Broadcast Group. Now, according to a Fightful Select report, multiple overtures were made to buy Ring of Honor from various companies since 2020, and reportedly another offer came and Joe Koff and Sinclair wanted to go in that direction originally. So that's a bit of a surprise that TK did pen the deal. Even more so for Ring of Honor talent who were booked for Supercard of Honor in April, who only heard about it when everyone else did during Dynamite. And there are a few other pre-existing Ring of Honor dates throughout the year, but whether these still go ahead as planned hasn't even been said yet. There has also been no word yet on how much was paid for the company, but Fightful are reporting that they've heard figures ranging from $20 million to $40 million. And with their fingers on the pulse, Fightful said sources in WWE were expecting Khan to have bought the video library for a Japanese promotion that is not NJPW. So this must all have come as a real shock over there. Here's Ollie to review how it all went down.
Hot tag thanks, Laurie, because now it's time for my review of AEW Dynamite. In about 5 minutes. Question: what do you do when you've got too much talent to fit in one promotion? Answer: you just buy another promotion. Tony Khan's major announcement opened the show with the AEW president standing in the ring with the wide-eyed excitement of someone who just bought his favourite wrestling promotion from the noughties. And cocaine. It also looked like he was on a lot of cocaine, which was apt. The promotion thing, not the cocaine, because he revealed he was the new owner of Ring of Honor. ROH to AEW confirmed. This episode came from AEW's spiritual home of Daly's Place, where Tony pointed outside and said this promotion started out in the parking lot 3 years ago, and that he's bought another promotion that started 17 years ago, Ring of Honor. The setting was thematically appropriate, with Daly's Place's more intimate, hardcore feel, and Tony's rare appearance as the actual owner, not a character, was really well done. It's just a shame that the crowd felt pretty flat all night. In another city, in a different venue, this might have been met with minutes of ROH chants. That aside, this is a fantastic move for the company, not just for the IP, where ROH shows are set to be run through the rest of the year, now with AEW's added production capacity publicity, but also for the content library, as Ring of Honor owned the original All In pay-per-view. All In is now part of continuity. All In is All In. Oh, I wonder what our current world champions match was on that show. Oh, it was Joey Ryan and the Penis Druids. It was 2018, it was a different time. This transitioned brilliantly into the episode's opening contest with 2 of the 3 men from Ring of Honor's first ever main event. Christopher Daniels versus Bryan Danielson. We do not talk about Loki anymore. How many Battle of the Dans combinations do AEW have? I literally just had Daniel Garcia versus Bryan Danielson as the last Dynamite match. Daniels felt a bit rusty, but the history of the occasion, including pre-match ROH handshake, was more than enough to make this feel special. Danielson caught Daniels' BME in a triangle sleeper and won with elbows to the head. Danielson cut a sweet promo afterwards, shaking hands with a passed out Daniels again, telling the crowd to give it up for the fallen angel, and then started kicking him in the head. Wait, what? Danielson said he isn't in ROH no more, which brought out Moxley, who said he's at a crossroads. Cody is head of ROH confirmed, where he's going to choose the path that finally beats Danielson on Sunday. After that excellent, momentous opening, the next half hour of the show was devoted to the Casino Tag Team Battle Royal. Even with my criticism that this just feels like a lesser, losers version of the Battle Royale we had last week, this was underwhelming all on its own. Apart from Darius Martin returning to reform Top Flight after his brother tried teaming with practically every other member of AEW's mid-card over the last year, this was pretty much just entrances until the predictable finish of the Young Bucks winning to add them to the tag team title 3-way at Revolution. Chris Jericho said the whole world is buzzing over his and Eddie Kingston's promo segment last week, then corrected himself to call the promo segment a conversation in some weird, ineffective attempt at breaking the fourth wall. Hey Colt Cabana, how you doing? And then told Eddie to GFY. Stop trying to make GFY happen. As usual, the coolest thing in the inner circle was Santana and Ortiz, who fist bumped Jericho at the end, meaning they're totally turning on him at Revolution. Then came the follow-up to one of the most subversive wrestling segments I've ever seen. CM Punk's reply to MJF's Syndrome promo. Punk came out looking conflicted, wearing Bryan Danielson's latest merch design, the plain white shirt. It turned out to serve 2 purposes. 1, thematic, as his promo was based around him asking if he was the good or bad guy. And 2, visually, as white makes all the blood pop more. Punk said hurt people hurt people. He can't help feel responsible for what MJF's become, but he also feels like he's being gaslit. MJF made choices to be a douchebag all on his own. He invited Max out, who entered the ring wearing a white suit, because they're both the good guy now, and for the buckets of blood that's about to happen. Punk said this right here is bigger than wrestling. It's about the 11-year-old kid at home now looking up to MJF. Punk doesn't know if he's the good guy, but he sure is trying, and he extended his hand for a handshake. An even more loaded with context gesture because of the ROH news earlier in the show. And in the latest ingenious twist, MJF not only threw Punk's hand aside, he hugged him in a genuine, clinching embrace. The kind of embrace that feels like almost a decade of hurt and pain is being melted away. It's the classic hero versus villain moral journey near the end of the 3rd act. The good guy needs to give the bad guy a chance to redeem himself. There's that moment where you think they're actually going to reconcile. You believe it's going to happen, until the bad guy makes the ultimate bad guy choice. MJF kicked Punk in the dick and revealed he was wearing a shirt with his and Punk's photo on. The Pinnacle came down, fought off security, let Max bust him open with the diamond ring, and then choke him with the dog collar. This was premeditated. The babyface brigade of Sting, Darby, and Sammy ran out for the save. Maybe a little bit too late there, guys. Oh, let's wait till he's absolutely gushing blood before we run out to help. MJF said it was all a trap, and it might have been. But what I love most about this is that it doesn't rule out that Max is actually feeling something. That promo last week, that embrace, that could all still be real. He's just too twisted by his own hate to let that heal him. Heal, of course, spelled H-E-A-L, because he definitely did wrestling here. Thunder Rosa and Mercedes Martinez beat Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker. Everyone wrestled well, but the crowd sapped the drama. It also feels like AEW have waited too long to do Baker versus Rosa Dos, yet somehow rushed it at the same time. Wardlow squashed Cesar Bononi with a powerbomb symphony and then stopped Sean Spears hitting him with the chair afterwards. Both men's facials were incredible in this segment. MJF then told Wardlow backstage he can keep the TNT title if he wins it, which he doesn't think he will. Wardlow quit back. It's only because he's too busy helping Max win all the time, so MJF slapped him, reminding Wardlow he works for him, not AEW. Tony, dude, you just bought like an entire wrestling promotion. Surely you can give Wardlow a contract. Tony Nese got a contract, for Christ's sake. No offense, Tony Nese, but Wardlow! And the main event saw Hangman Page, John Silver and Alex Reynolds take on the Undisputed Era, where Page and Cole told a great story, first about knowing each other inside out, with them both reversing every move, and after Cole pinned Reynolds, gaffer taping Hangman to the ropes and making him watch as they beat down Silver and Reynolds, again incorporating that idea of friendship that's such a recurring thematic device in Hangman's stories. It felt a bit weird that none of the Dark Order came out to help. I saw them there earlier on the show, and while this was a cool heel angle, I just don't buy Cole as an actual threat to Hangman, because he's lost both his major feuds against Jungle Boy and Orange Cassidy leading into this. What did you think of Dynamite? 88% of you voted for ROH to AEW confirmed. The ROH announcement was hugely newsworthy, and the Punk MJF feud is well on its way to being one of my favourite wrestling stories ever. I'm still very excited about Revolution, but I'm not sure this show is the reason why. The go-home angles and overall stories for the men's, women's and tag belts are lacking compared to the blood feuds of Punk, Jericho and Danielson, meaning this week's Dynamite, by its own standards, is the lowest of the year for me at 79%.
In this WrestleTalk news, Alexa Bliss confused over her WWE booking, an NXT star has been called out for being unsafe, Kemper's review of last night's NXT 2.0 and more.